Hi friends, so today I thought that I should do a bookshelf tour because someone asked in the comments, and thank you for asking that. I do love watching all those other people's bookshelves. They're really fun to look at. And so yeah, I thought that I would give it a try too. What I meant to say is that I am very messy, so my bookshelves are not very well organized. I do not organize them by fantasy, like I do not organize them as much as I should, maybe because I do not have a lot of books. So I have some books, but I do not have a lot of room to organize those books. I have only one bookshelf which you see right behind me, so a lot of books cannot fit in their own sections. You will see fantasy with science fiction, and you will see a classic book with romance books, so clustered, a little cluttered, but I think it looks good. It gives off like a kind of an organized vibe in my room, and I like that. Let's get on with the tour. So as you can see, this is the bookshelf. I will go every book by book, by every shelf, and I will talk a little bit about what that book means to me, about all the different items present in the shelf, and I'm gonna also be talking about like what books I've read and what books I haven't read, because they're all like everywhere in the place. Yeah, I hope you enjoy watching, and let's get started with the top left shelf, which is right there. Okay, so let's start with the first book you see, which is the top 10 of everything of 2013. This is probably one of the first book that I got as a birthday gift from my dad. So I have flicked through this book for a lot of time. It's got all the statistics of what was top 10 in the 2013 with all the actresses, movies. It gave me a lot of knowledge about the pop culture of what was happening around 2013. So I do cherish this book. This is one of the oldest book that I own from my collection. The next book is the visual dictionary by a lot of people, I think. So this is like a dictionary which contains a lot of diagrams about different topics, some related to science, some related to engineering, some related to painting, some related to architecture, and everything in between. It gives a small description and like a diagram. I also flicked through a lot of time. I think these two books came in a collection, so I have a lot of good memories of flicking through this book. Next one is The Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. I have never read Terry Pratchett before. This is one of the first book by Terry Pratchett I bought to like have a collection, because I heard that Terry Pratchett is a really good author, really fun fantasy. Discworld is a very fun fantasy series, so I just bought it, and haven't really tried reading any of his books. Yeah, I bought this used, and it looks really cool. Now is a non-fiction. It's called Barking Up the Wrong Tree by Eric Barker. This is like about success and how most of it is wrong. I haven't read it. So a little story. This book was mentioned in one of my favorite documentaries on YouTube, and it's called Bookstores. You should, if you like books, you should really. It's by Max Fosh, I think, and you should really go look up that video. It's a really fun and well-produced video about bookstores, about how you can read more, about what reading is about. So yeah, I bought this book because it was mentioned in it. So the author was like giving some advice about how you can read more books. So I just bought it. Haven't read it though. So the next book is The Body Keeps the Score. This is a very well-known psychological non-fiction book about trauma and how you can heal it. And there's a lot of revelations to be had in this book. I am still read 100 pages, but couldn't really continue with it. So I've been tagging it and slowly reading it. So the next book is the 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. So this is the first ever romance book that I have read last year. It started my obsession with reading romance book. I would not say obsession, but it still sparked an interest in reading romance books. It showed me a new genre, and I have been exploring this genre ever since. Next up is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. I've got all the 5 books. I think there's one book which is written by another author. I've only read the first one, which is the The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's a really enjoyable, fun, short, humorous series. Excited to continue with every single book in this series. Next up, we've got the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. These books are very special to me. The reason being that this is the first book that I ever bought, and this is the first novel I have ever bought and finished and like continued with the series. So this is like one of the first ever book that I have read, and like this made me fall in love with reading. A lot of nostalgia. These books, this particular set. I hope to reread them and like jog up my memory about how these books were. Next up is Circe by Madeline Miller, a really enjoyable Greek mythology retelling about Circe. I love the cover of it. Interesting story, really enjoyed it. Next up is Poor Things by Elsevier Gray. This is the movie tie-in. I really enjoyed the movie. Can't wait to read the book and like compare both the book and movie. Next is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I tried reading this book a long time ago when I bought it. I like almost read half of it but didn't really continue for some reason. I am willing to give it another chance because I heard that this is a good book. Next up, on a few graphic novel or mangas, I got One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. This is volume 58, 59, 60, which is, I shouldn't have gotten this volume because as if you are a One Piece fan, you know what happens in these 3 volumes, and I don't want to go through the pain of what happened in this volume. Like, this is the most emotional One Piece has ever gotten, this 3 volumes, and I don't think I can read it again. So probably a bad idea to start my collection. I don't know if I'm gonna collect every single One Piece books, One Piece manga, but yeah, it's here. It looks good. It's a little old, but I don't want to show any spoilers, so close your ears or eyes. One Piece is good, so good. Okay, next up I got the first volume in the Frieren series, popular new anime that came out. It's a really like melancholic and poignant series. Really enjoyed it. It's a good series to like comfy cry to, I think that's the right word. So the next books are the Heartstopper series. So as you can see, this is bigger than this one. So as you will move along, you will see that I, as a new booktuber, have been fallen prey to a lot of fake books which are present. So I know now that which books are fakes and which books are real, so I will only try to buy real books to support the author. But unfortunately, some of the books are fake and I cannot dispose them. I cannot, like, nobody's gonna buy them, so I'm stuck with them. So if I ever get the chance, I will, when I build up the whole collection of Heartstopper, I will try to buy the original one, which is the second volume. The first volume is it's smaller. It doesn't feel as good to hold. But it's a really good series. Only read the first one. The second one I will read it soon. Anyway, I want to say that I have never done this, so my hands are really tired, and I don't know if I'm filming it really well. So I'm sorry if a little janky. Continuing, this is the manga Uzumaki by Junji Ito. This is being turned into a series, which is gonna come out like in the end of the year. It's an enjoyable manga. I didn't really like it a lot, but it was a cool experience enjoying the concept. The concepts are cool, the execution is not that good, I would say. Okay, next up I've got Ruination, a League of Legends novel. So I love Arcane, cannot wait for season 2 at the end of the year. Yeah, this book set place in that same like League of Legends universe. As I love Arcane, I wanted to give the novels a shot, so I just bought it. So that was all the books in the first shelf, and moving on to the next shelf. Okay, next up we have got the second shelf, which contains most of the fantasy and some sci-fi books in here. So let's start with the biggest, which is one of the first box that I have ever bought, which is the Harry Potter series. I'm so glad I bought it because it played a big role in me in enjoying fantasy series. 7 books here. I'm not gonna pick it out because it's a popular series. Everything. Like a lot of people have read it. Continuing with it, I got Babel by R.F. Kuang. Amazing standalone fantasy books about like language and colonialism and racism, everything. Very good book. Next up is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I didn't really like this book. I think it was very cheesy. I didn't love the romance which I wanted to read it, so I'm not gonna continue it with it, but I'm stuck with the book. Maybe probably unhaul it in the future. Next is The Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. This is the really fun like monster book. If you want to read it, it's really short. I do recommend reading this book. It's a pretty fun science fiction book. So this is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. It's a very unique modern fantasy book. It's been turned into a movie. I'm really excited for that. Next up is The Legends and Latte by Travis Baldree. This is like a cozy fantasy book. I really enjoyed the atmosphere and like coziness, as the book says, the coziness about this series. Haven't continued with it yet. Will do very soon. So this is the first book in the Jade Legacy series. The first is The Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is a very highly regarded fantasy series. I haven't read it, but excited to start the series and continue with the whole trilogy and all the other novellas. I have a very like solid premonition that I will like it. Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo. It is very highly regarded in the YA fantasy community. I think it's like about heist and stuff. I haven't really read it. Next up is a classic, Alice Adventure in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. It's a fun children's book. I enjoyed the writing about it. Next up is the What Are You Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Aoyama, translated by Alison Watts. So this is the short story collection about this like library where the librarian gives you a book which helps you move further into your career or feel better about your life and everything. So it's a very like healing kind of fantasy or like a slice of life book. So this is The Gardens of the Moon by Stephen Erickson. This is the first book in the Malazan series, which I am very intimidated to start. I haven't started it. Probably won't start for like another 1 or 2 years until I'm very familiar with the whole fantasy genre or have read some less hard books as compared to this one. This is The Lies of Locke Lamora. This is probably one of the one of the fantasy books I really wanna like start along with Jade City. This is by Scott Lynch. This is like 4 or 3 books. This is like 3 book series, with more coming out, and I think this will be very fun. Another Terry Pratchett book that I own, which is The Small Gods. I think this is considered the best, one of the best route to start the Terry Pratchett Discworld books. I really like the cover. The cover is really cool for this one. I do not know anything. I tried reading it a little bit, but was very exhausted, so didn't really continue. This is the science fiction short story collection by Isaac Asimov. It contains some really good science fiction stories, including the Last Question, which is one of the best science fiction short story that I've ever read. So please give that a go. So this is The Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke. So this book has been compared to one of my favorite shows, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and this book has, I think, inspired the creator Hideaki Anno. So I was intrigued to get some similar themes from this book. Okay, so this was the second shelf. Continuing on with the next shelf. Okay, so on to the third shelf, which is the classic shelf, romance/contemporary shelf. As I said, I do not have a lot of room, so all of these are mixed in. But I think this is one of the most colorful shelf I have, which is like it goes into black and then kind of orange and red and then green. So yeah, I do really like this shelf vibes. So let's start with the first one, which is the Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. This is the only Franz Kafka I have read. Enjoyed it. It was short and really good. I am planning to continue with this author, and I'm gonna try The Trial, which is the full-length novel by Franz Kafka. Next up is This Is How You Lose the Time War by two authors, which are Amal El Mohtar and Max Gladstone. So this is like a science fiction short novel about these two agents who are trying to fight in the time war, but they fell in love with each other. I think if this book is like very divisive because it is kind of hard to read. It took me like read that book 2 times to like fully grasp of what was happening, but I do enjoyed it. There are some moments which are stuck on my mind. It's very well written. There are some great quotes in it. Next is 1984 by George Orwell. I started reading this but didn't really continue because I thought that it wasn't a proper time to read this book. I read like the first chapter and it really captivated me, but I haven't come back to it since. We'll come back to it soon. Next up, I've got Atonement by Ian McEwan, well-known author, I think. So this is the movie tie-in edition, as you can see. So movie is great. I love the movie. So I quickly I saw this in like a used bookstore and I bought it, seeing the difference between the movie and the book. So next up on the free classics, I've got Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. So I am trying to read up more on classics, educate myself in literature. So this is probably one of the most essential classic books you need to read if you like romance. Pride and Prejudice, really liked the portrait cover, and yeah, I think this Penguin collection looks good. I try to buy all the Penguin collection books because they look really good in the shelves. The next big book is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. This is such a big book. I think it's like 1200 pages, and I have no idea what's it about. I think like everybody who has like talked about this book, I only remember the revenge. I think it's like considered one of the best revenge books out there. So I really wanted to read it, and yeah, I like big books. They give me a weird kind of feeling, which I really like. Next up on a classic, I got Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first science fiction book ever written. Frankenstein, this is a horror science fiction book. I have no idea about Frankenstein. I know it's a really popular pop culture book. Excited to read this classic. Next up, one of the first books that I finished after Hunger Games, which is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak, and I absolutely love this book. Has such a like good memory with these books. It was really sad. I have sobbed so much for this book, and yeah, I do not remember anything about it except like the last like final events that happened. So if you don't know, this book is about this girl who likes to read books, and she kind of befriends this boy who is a Jew, and she tries to hide it during the World War II from Hitler. So yeah, this is a very terrifying book, and I'm glad I read it. Another classic is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I do not have anything to say about it because I do not know what's it about. I know that this is considered like in the similar veins of Pride and Prejudice, so I just got it. Going on with the contemporary or like the romance section, this is Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This book got really popular. Haven't read it, and I am happy to be surprised if it's good. I have seen some raving reviews about it. Next is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I do not know anything about this book. I do think it's like a thriller or a horror book. This is very well known book. A lot of people like this book, and let me know if any of those books you like and like haven't read. Please comment and like tell me about them, because I would like to know more about the books in a spoiler-free way. Next up is the romance book One Day by David Nichols. Again, no idea what's it about. I just know that these two people meet one day and go their other ways, and then we follow their lives. So as I said, I liked The 7 Year Slip, so I got the Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, which is another book by Ashley Poston, and this involves like ghost. Yeah, it sounds fun. The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This is like one of like the earliest book that I've bought, along with Hunger Games and Book Thief. So I started reading it but didn't really liked the romance aspect of it, but since I've grown and like started to like this genre, I will give this book another try soon. Okay, next up is Emily Henry. So Happy Place and Book Lovers. Book Lovers was the first Emily Henry book I read and fallen in love with the writing, with the characters and everything. And this is the next book that I'm gonna read, Happy Place from Emily Henry. This is Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. I don't know if I start Christina Lauren books with this one or I should try another book. Tell me more about this author and more about their books in the comments, please, if you know. Another recent book that I got is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I do not have a lot to say about it. The cover looks cool. It sounded okay. But next up is Small Things Like This by Claire Keegan. This is the really short book. This is the Booker Prize 2022 shortlist. I think this has like a really good movie which came out like this year or previous year. I do not know anything about this book, but I have heard critical acclaim about this book, and so I got it. Next up is the author Kazuo Ishiguro, and these are the two books, Never Let Me Go and The Remains of the Day by them. Yeah, this is Never Let Me Go is probably higher on my list than The Remains of the Day, but I heard that like Ishiguro writes like very sad or like really unique books. So yeah, I'm really excited to start my journey with this author with Never Let Me Go, because I think this is considered the best one, the best book to start with, I think. Another classic is The Lord of the Flies, Golding. So this is like kind of like real life Hunger Games, I would say, between children's. Haven't read it yet. Another short classic I have got is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Don't know anything about this. Don't know anything about the movie. I heard this is like, I don't know why it's considered classic. We'll find out really soon when I read it. So yeah, this is the third shelf. Moving on to the fourth shelf. Okay, so here's the fantasy shelf. This is one of my favorite shelves. I love looking at these books. This got one of my favorite author, which is Brandon Sanderson. So this is the Mistborn series, which was the first series that I ever got. So this is the first book cover. So this came with the box. I really like the box. These are the 3 books. I'm not gonna continue showing every single cover cause my hands hurt. Yeah, these are the good covers. Really enjoyed the series, fantasy series that I've read, sparked my love for it. And yeah, moving on to with the whole Brandon Sanderson collection, I got Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I'm just stop saying the author name, you can see it. But we got Warbreaker, which is a really fun standalone book. It's gonna be a series, but it hasn't come out yet, the second book. But really enjoyed the magic system on this. It was a little weaker than the Mistborn, so it took me like a year to read this. Because after ending the Mistborn, like this couldn't live up to it. But the next book that I got, which is, as you can see, which is the Stormlight Archive series. So this is the UK covers, which are divided into 2 parts. This is part 1 and this is part 2. So after reading Warbreaker, this was the series I started, which is very big, epic, fat, 1000 pages books. And yeah, this is currently one of my favorite series coming out I've ever read. So yeah, let's continue with. So yeah, after reading the first book, I decided to start with the US book covers, because I think these are the better covers. This look good. They are really easy to handle. And on top of it, you can see is the Arcanum Unbounded, which contains which contains most of the like short story novella and like introduction to Mistborn, to Warbreaker, to Stormlight and the other series. So this is like a short story novel collection, and like the covers are good. I would like to collect all the other other book in the Miss Spawn series and the other Cosmere books, the 4 books, secret books that came out. Slowly building my Sanderson collection. Moving on, this is the Oversea Under Stone by Suzanne Copper. This is like a children's fantasy series which I recently found out about, and this was in the new haul. Excited to continue and start this new series. Next up is the Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is quite frankly one of my favorite book covers I own. I just really liked the look and like feeling kind of old paper and all the golden edgings on it. And I've only read the first book and I enjoyed the first book, but I think I need to read more to like properly decide that if I'm gonna continue with this like very big foreign book series, right? So I got book second in the first trilogy of The Realm of the Underlings, which is The Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. And I also got one of the later books which I found on a used store, which is The Fool's Quest. I think this is like the second to last book in the series, in the whole 14 book series. So yeah, I do think that if I collect all the 14 books, this would look so good on my shelf. Yeah, so this was all the books in the fourth shelf. One of my favorite shelf, because I do think that this and all this looks really good. I do have to like collect all the books in like this covers, so I could like transfer them somewhere else, because I don't think that they fit this like really cool white or like kind of like old white vibe. So I do think that this would look very good like if I collect more of these books. On to the fifth shelf. Okay, so this is the fifth shelf. First of all, I wanted to talk about this thing, which is the like a teacup, which is the souvenir, or which is not a souvenir, which is like a remembrance of I got from my grandfather who passed away, and I really love him. And yeah, I do think that this reminds me of him, and I think it's a good thing to like have a souvenir of like someone who you cherished, right? So yeah, this is like one of my prized things that I have in my shelf that I have displayed. So starting from the left, I got Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I have read a little bit of it and I didn't really clicked with it for the first time, so I am gonna give it another chance when I'm in the right mood. Next up is the first two book in the Good Girls Guide to Murder series by Holly Jackson. I've only read the first one. Really excited to continue with it. I haven't really excited to continue with it and watch the show. I heard the show is really good, and yeah, really good books. So the next up is The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This is a really cool like science fiction mystery, like who killed who done it style book. This is one of the most like unique. Like I do not read a lot of murder mysteries, but this was very cool. I really highly recommend it to read it. Next is the amazing science fiction novel Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I don't want to spoil anything. Just go and read this book. It's great. Next is The Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is like a gay romance book between like Prince and like President's son. I enjoyed the movie, didn't really like the book. Some non-fiction, The Emperor of All Maldives by Siddharth Mukherjee. This is like about cancer and how like cancer is researched and identified. So this is a really cool book about that. One of my anticipated reads. Moving along in the same vein, I've got The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, which talks about the Henrietta Lacks who gave a really significant boost to this medical community and in the research community. I got this cute looking flower, and onto here. So this is the Wheel of Time series. This is a 14 book popular fantasy series by Robert Jordan. So I've got most of the books here. Some of them are missing. I'm slowly collecting all the books so I could read and binge all of them. and commit to it. So yeah, this is the shelf, and moving on to the last shelf. So we are almost at the end of the bookshelf too. Okay, again from left to right, the first book is Virginia Woolf Orlando. This is a really unique book, unique classic that I recently read about gender and Virginia Woolf's views on gender. Well, next up we've got The Nightingale by Christian Hannah. Christian Hannah has written a lot of books. I think this is their most popular. This is a historical fiction about World War and Paris, and about women helping people during the war. I have no idea what's it about, but this is considered one of the best books out there, and very emotional. So next is and Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. She being one of the most popular best-selling author, and this is her most famous work. I did give it a try but didn't continue. I will give it a second try soon. Next on the shelf is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This is also similar to The Nightingale. I think Nightingale is a love story, I think, and this is more of a drama, and more of a sad drama about I don't actually know what's it about. I think it's also about war. Next up is the Little Woman series. First book being The Little Woman, and second one, which is the continuation, is The Good Wife. Sometimes they are collected together. So Little Woman is one of my favorite books I have read. Fun, really comfortable, like a warm hug, and excited to continue with the second book. Next up is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. This is the movie tie-in edition. I have never read it. I heard this is a really good coming of age books. A lot of people my age really like this book, as I heard on the internet. Next is The Hot Zone by Richard Preston. This is another non-fiction about Ebola virus, and it's containment and everything related to it. Next is the Percy Jackson series. First one being The Lightning Thief, and as we go along, this is the 5-book series of Percy Jackson. I have only read the first 2 and enjoyed it, both 4 out of 5 stars. This is the fun series to continue. We're going to continue soon. Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I just bought it because it was on a used store and it looked in good quality. I know it's urban fantasy. I heard good to mixed things about it, so looking forward to have an opinion on this. I do not know if I'm gonna like this. I think this is a series. Next up is the Lord of the Rings series along with The Hobbit. Let me show you all the covers. So I have only read The Hobbit, which is the prequel and a children's book. Really, Hobbit, enjoyed it. Fun book. Loved the cover. It's such a good covers. There are a lot of Lord of the Rings covers. This is the first part in the LOTR, which is the Fellowship of the Ring. Again, love the covers for this collection. Next is The Two Towers, and then we've got The Return of the King. Proud to have this collection. I will tell you more why in coming later. So next is His Dark Material series by Philip Pullman, which contains all the 3 books: The Northern Lights, The Subtle Knife, and The Ember Spyglass. I've only read the first book, The Northern Lights, but I didn't finish it. I don't know why I didn't finish it. I was enjoying it, but not a lot. So yeah, this is another book series that I want to retry again. So as you can see in the back, I also got few more books. So let's talk about them. So this is the other Lord of the Rings collection I bought. These are actually, as I told you, I was scammed and thought that these were real books, but they're a cheap copy of Lord of the Rings. So I didn't really like having them in my shelf, but I do not have anywhere to dispose of them or give them away. So I'm stuck with them. Yeah, that's why I'm really happy to have all these original covers, original good covers with me. This is the Oxford English Dictionary. My dad gifted to me this book. I think this was the first book that I've ever got, other than I think the dictionary and the top 10 one. Okay, the other series, which is the last but not the least, is book series I have got is this is the Coat of Thorns and Roses series. This is the Coat of Thorns and Roses series. I got all the books. Only read the first 2, which is this one and this one, and I'm kind of mixed on the series, but still gonna continue. Okay, so this was the last shelf on my book, but as I said, I'm running out of bookshelf. So I did put away one of the series that I have, which is, let me show you. Okay, so the last series that I got is the series of unfortunate events. I got all the 13 books that in the series. I've only read the first two, but yeah, I'm going to like marathon it and like make a video about it. So that is coming soon, later in the next month, or like sometime soon. So look forward to that. And that is all the collection in my books. I counted, and we have got a total of 140 books, which is a lot. Like 60% of them I have collected over like this year. So if this keeps on going, I would have run out of space, because this is the year I really have gotten into reading and like making videos. So I want to say thank you for watching the video and like supporting me, and I really enjoy making videos and talking about books with like having a friends, because nobody around me like reads a lot of books, and like I'm really not that chatty in person. Being on YouTube and like making videos has helped me a lot. This was all the collection of my book. Thank you for requesting this video. I enjoyed making it. My hands kind of hurt, but that's okay, because I got to talk about all the books, which I do not get a lot of chance to in this video. And yep, that's it. Thank you for watching, and bye. I will see you in the next video. Bye. Ooh.